on a lonely stretch of road near Albury, New South Wales.
In the fading light of September 1st, 1934, a farmer noticed something unusual. He had walked past the roadside ditch many times before,
But this time, his eyes caught the shape of a human figure, a woman's body, partially burned, clothed in silk yellow pajamas, her face disfigured by fire, her skull fractured.
The brutality of her death was obvious, but it was the mystery of who she was that would
Ignite one of the most haunting
investigations in Australia's history. This is the story of the Pyjama Girl murder.
a case that would grip a nation for more than a decade, a crime that raised as many questions as it answered, and one that even now,
Nearly a century later, refuses to rest. The discovery shocked the quiet border town of Albury. Word spread quickly. A young woman, unknown.
abandoned like refuse on the roadside.
Local police cordoned off the area, but what they found only deepened the mystery. She was petite, her age estimated between 20 and 30.
Her head injuries suggested she had been beaten savagely. The fire had destroyed
Parts of her body, but not enough to erase them. Pajamas, the most haunting detail of all. A silk yellow pair, patterned exotic for the time.
No women in the small towns of the Murray region dressed in such fashion. Who was she? Forensic science in 1934 was far less advanced than today,
Fingerprinting was limited. Dental records were incomplete.
and DNA was not even imagined.
The police tried everything available. They photographed the corpse,
They compared missing persons reports. They checked hospitals.
boarding houses and farms, but no one came forward.
No one claimed her. The press immediately seized upon the mystery. Newspapers dubbed her the Pyjama Girl. Her image,
In Death was printed across Australia.
readers in Melbourne, Sydney, and beyond were captivated.
Everyone speculated, was she a runaway?
A foreign traveller, a mistress silenced by scandal.
For years, the case haunted the public imagination.
Not only because of the violence, but because of the anonymity.
The police, determined not to let the trail grow cold,
Made a decision that today would be considered shocking. They placed the woman's body in a tank of formalin, preserving it indefinitely.
the corpse was kept on public display at the Sydney University Medical School. Citizens and investigators alike would come to view her in the hopes of recognition.
Tens of thousands of people filed past that glass tank over the years,
Some swore they recognized her, others recoiled in horror.
yet no identification was ever confirmed.
Australia was gripped.
The Pyjama Girl became a ghostly figure.
Not just a murder victim, but an enduring riddle. In towns and cities across the country, she was the subject of dinner table debates.
Magazine features, and crime lectures. Police continued to compare her to missing women across Australia.
But the years passed. World War II began and ended. Still, the body floated in its tank, an unsolved case waiting for resolution.
It wasn't until 1944, a full decade later, that the authorities claimed they had an answer. A Sydney woman named Linda Agostini,
An English-born immigrant married to Italian waiter Antonio Tony Agostini, had been reported missing.
she was known to be troubled, prone to depression, and in a rocky marriage.
The police announced they had
Identified the Pyjama Girl as Linda. They based this on dental records, scars, and circumstantial evidence. Linda had indeed owned similar silk pajamas. Tony Agostini was arrested. Under questioning, he confessed, but his confession was strange.
He admitted to causing Linda's death during an argument, claiming she had threatened suicide.
And that a gun had gone off accidentally. Terrified, he said, he disposed of the body and attempted to disguise it by burning. But here is where the story becomes far more complex and controversial. For many forensic experts,
The identification of the Pyjama Girl as Linda Agostini was deeply flawed. Dental experts pointed out inconsistencies.
witnesses who had known Linda described her as taller.
With different facial features.
Skeptics argued that the preserved body did not match Linda at all.
So why, after 10 years of failure, did the police suddenly declare victory? Some historians argue it was pressure. Pressure to close one of the country's most infamous unsolved crimes. Others believe the identification of Linda
Agostini was a convenient way to tie up the loose ends and
restore public confidence in law enforcement. After all, the police had kept a dead woman in a glass tank for 10 years. They needed closure. The trial of Tony Agostini was a sensation. Newspapers branded him the villain, the cold-blooded husband who killed his wife and left her in a ditch. The prosecution argued he had struck her, fractured her skull, and attempted to burn the evidence. Tony maintained his story of an accident, but in 1944 the court convicted him not of murder,
but of manslaughter. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison, and with that, the state declared the mystery solved.
The Pyjama Girl was Linda. The case was closed.
But was it?
Even in the 1940s, voices of dissent remained. Some journalists and medical professionals openly doubted the identification.
They argued that Linda's friends and relatives, who knew her best,
could not reconcile the preserved corpse with the woman they had known, and the strange circumstances of the confession raised more suspicion than clarity.
Did Tony confess because he was guilty, or
because he was pressured and broken? After years of scrutiny, for decades after, criminologists, authors,
and historians continue to debate the Pyjama Girl's true identity.
Some suggested she was never Linda at all but another young woman, perhaps a migrant or an unknown traveler whose story vanished into obscurity. If so, then the real killer may have never been caught. The legacy of the Pyjama Girl case is one of fascination and unease. For older Australians, the image of the body in the tank lingers as a chilling memory of a
different era of policing one where
desperation for answers blurred the line
between justice and spectacle.
For modern investigators,
the case remains
a study in forensic limitations and the dangers of circumstantial evidence. To this day, debate rages on.
Was the Pyjama Girl truly Linda Agostini,
the troubled young woman caught in a tragic marriage?
Or was she someone else entirely, her name and story erased, her death wrongly attributed?
The haunting detail is this: if she was not Linda,
then her true identity remains lost to history, and her killer may have gone unpunished. The Pyjama Girl floats not just in the tank of
formalin where she was displayed, but in the imagination of a nation, a symbol of mystery, tragedy, and perhaps injustice. Thank you for watching Crimes Through Time.
The Pyjama Girl murder remains one of Australia's most haunting cases.
Do you believe the police got it right, that she was Linda Agostini, or was the true identity of the Pyjama Girl never uncovered? Drop your theory in the comments below. I'll be reading them all.
If you found this story chilling, hit the like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into history's darkest mysteries.
And ring the bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and never forget that some mysteries are never truly put to rest.